Hey guys, Steve from Gym Hub. In today's short video, I'm going to answer the question of what should my sales conversion rates be for my gym and how do I fix them if they're not up to scratch. So I actually had this question from a gym owner last week that was asking a bit about mentoring and having a discussion with him about how his gym's going. He asked, what should my actual sales conversion rates be? So the first thing I'd like to share with you here is that most gyms that I talk to are actually pretty good when someone walks through the door. So your sales conversion rates, when it's face-to-face, when you do a gym tour, when someone actually spends the time to come in your gym, they should be at about 70 or 80% or higher when someone comes in, because they've actually already shown you that they're keen. They've taken time out of their day. They could obviously check out the prices and the photos of your facilities and stuff online. So if they've come in, they're really keen. And what I find is chatting with most people, they're around that sort of 70 or 80% of conversions when people come through the door, because they're passionate about fitness and they're in their own environment, and that's what they're pretty good at. The second thing, I guess, that you want to consider is, what is my conversion rate from inquiry online all the way through to membership? And what we find here is that your gym should actually be converting from an online inquiry when someone's brave, logging in their details on Facebook, sitting in their Ugg boots on the lounge. Your conversion rate from that inquiry all the way through to membership should be around 50%. And what we find is, when I chat to gym owners, most of them don't actually know their numbers. The reason for this is largely because they're not tracking them. They're not putting all their inquiries, they're not putting all their sales conversions through their CRM, or B, they're simply not looking. So the first step in actually improving your sales conversion rate is, one, make sure you're actually tracking it. Step number two, identify which step in the sales funnel that you've actually got leaks. And then step number three, simplify your sales process so that you can get your staff involved and do some training with them. So let's backtrack a little bit. Let's assume someone reaches out to me and they're a gym owner and they say, but Steve, we're actually in that step of the sales process when someone comes in, we're actually converting at 90 or 95%. Surely that's better, like we're doing well. And funnily enough, my answer to that is no. What you're actually, 70 to 80% is actually a sweet spot for conversion rate when someone comes through the door. And let me explain why. So when someone actually comes through the door, if you're converting at 90, 95%, what that tells me is that you're doing all the sales. What it tells me is your gym actually doesn't make that many sales per week, and therefore you're not growing as fast as you should be. What I would prefer, and what I recommend gym owners do, is if you're actually converting at 90 or 95% or higher, you've actually got a very good sales process in place. But what you want to do is actually scale it up. You want to get some of your staff involved. You want to actually double down on the number of leads and the number of prospects that are coming in each week. Get some staff involved. And what you'll find, if you're actually converting at 70 to 80%, but you're actually handing double the inquiries, you are far more profitable at the end of each month. So keep that in mind. 90 and 100% conversion is not even the goal. If you're up at that level now, your goal is to actually double the amount of leads coming in, rather than sort of focusing too much more on the sales conversion. So as I said before, most gyms that I talk to are about 70 or 80%. Most gyms don't have a clue. And when they say 70 to 80%, they're actually just guessing. When I actually look into the data on their CRM, generally what we find is there's a big hole in their sales funnel from when someone inquires to when someone comes through the door. They're pretty good at that second part. So when someone comes through, about 70 to 80% will join up. However, there's this massive hole at the top, so that there's only about 30% of people that actually come in. So let's say last month, your gym had 100 inquiries. What we find is most gyms only get about 30% of those people who have inquired to come in and buy something. So if we can actually get better at that first step, if we can get better at actually increasing the number of people that show up in person, do a tour of your gym, do a trial of your classes, and you've actually got a process in place where some of your staff are there to tour them and sign them up, you're going to do really, really well. So you might be asking, what if I've got a leak in that's first step of the sales funnel. How do I fix it? So number one is don't invite people to come in and trial a class or to come in and actually use your gym to do like a 10-day pass or something. Instead, when you're on the phones, make sure you're actually inviting them in for a one-on-one gym tour where you talk to them about their goals and about them. So there's a difference there. It's like, hey, there's a class at 6 a.m. Pop in and do that. That's one way. The other one is I'm interested to find out more about you. Come in at 6 a.m. tomorrow. We'll sit down, talk about your goals, and I'll design a program for you that'll actually help you to get stronger for your rugby season. So there's two different things. One person's actually focusing on the class and the facilities. The other person's focusing on the prospect. Number two, you need to actually check out and actually test the phone script. So if you're actually having a difficulty in getting people from online to actually come in person, you definitely need to work on your phone script and your phone skills. Number three, consider a welcome email series. So at our gym, as soon as someone inquires online, we actually have an automation set up where they get 3 emails. So they get one straight away, they get one 8 hours later, and then they get one 2 days later. And what it sends them is information about our gym. There's a video explaining who we are. There's case studies of people that have done well. There's our opening hours. There's our social media handles. So there's an opportunity for them, even before they come in for that first trial or that first conversation, to have an increased opinion of us and for us to have higher credibility in their eyes. The last one, and one that's quite popular at the moment, is if you want to get a higher show rate and you want to get more people to actually get off the lounge in their Ugg boots and actually make that journey into your gym, consider doing a short sort of 30-second video and sending it over where you say, hey, it's Steve from Rush Cutters Health. Thanks for your inquiry, Sarah. I look forward to helping you on Thursday at 8 a.m. when you come in, and I'll give you 3 specific exercises that tone up the back of your arms. I'll see you then. So if you create a short video and you make it personal, what we find is the show rate's going through the roof. I hope you like that one. What about if you've got issues in the second stage of the sales funnel? So let's say you're actually getting them in, but you're not actually converting 70 to 80% like most gyms are of those people that come in. Here's what I recommend. Number one is practice the gym tour. What you need to try and focus on is make it more of an experience rather than a point and explain. So the traditional way of doing gym tours doesn't work anymore. You walk past and you go, oh, there's the spin room and there's our bathrooms and there's our free weights. Blah, blah. It doesn't work. It's boring. It has nothing to do with the prospect. What you're trying to do instead is actually make it an experience. You're actually trying to engage that person and make it specific to them. So consider if you're not actually converting them very well when they come in, as the owner of the business, consider what could we actually show them on their tour? What could they experience? What could we actually have them doing that makes it an experience rather than just a simple sort of tour guide sort of role? The second one, make it about them and their goals, not about you and your equipment. So sit down, talk about their goals, find out where they've trained in the past, talk about injuries, talk about what they're trying to achieve this time, and create an actual plan for them rather than making it about your group training timetable, about your opening hours, about your prices and stuff like that. And number 3, make sure you're role-playing with staff. One of the issues that I see a lot with gyms is that we often create a process and then we go, yep, you got it, and everyone nods. But what's actually happening in reality is it's like Chinese whispers. So you've created a process, which I hope is a really strong one, so that when you do it, you're converting at a real high percentage. However, once you pass it on to someone else and they pass it on to someone else, what's actually being delivered on a day-to-day basis is actually quite poor and it's not actually very good. So the best thing you can actually do is get each one of your staff to take you through a bit of a role play, take you through a gym tour, take you through a price presentation. Generally what I find is your staff are quite good at asking about injuries and stuff. They're quite good at doing a tour, but when it comes to the price presentation, they sort of get a little bit tense, they change their tone and it gets a little bit awkward. And the only way you actually get past that is through practice. So I hope that's been useful, guys. We're talking about how to increase your sales conversion. And we're talking about what's realistic and what should we be aiming for. In my opinion, you should be aiming for at least 50% of people that inquire online come through and sign up as a member. And of the ones that come through the door, about 70 to 80% of those people should be actually signing up. If it's higher than that, you want to think about increasing your lead generation, because at the moment, you're actually, you're the bottleneck. And the reason why your gym's probably not growing, although you're actually like signing up 90% of people that come through the door, is because it's just you, or it's just you and your manager. If instead you had a small sales team with double the lead flow, you'll find that your revenue is going to go through the roof. So I'm Steve from Gym Hub. This is what I'm passionate about. I've got my own fitness studio in Sydney. We have over $1 million annually in revenue. And we also help over 30 fitness businesses around the world, some with one gym, some with multiple gyms, to tighten up their sales process. If you're interested in actually having someone do a bit of an audit of your process to see what's broken, to see what's too complicated, to see where you're actually wasting sales right now, be sure to leave your details below. I've got a little promotion on at the moment where you can do 30 days of one-on-one mentoring with me for just $1. I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks, guys. Bye.